Do you know what the #1 cause of eating disorders is? Dieting. The National Institute of Health found that dieting was literally the #1 factor, and the National Eating Disorder Association found that dieting increased your chances of developing an eating disorder by 5 to 18 times. And with the over 1,000 women that we've freed from their eating disorders, we've found the same thing. But here's the deadly combination. Dieting causes eating disorders, but dieting is also the most used method for managing an eating disorder. Do you see the maddening cycle? That's why it gets worse and worse and harder to fix. I am eating disorder expert, Coach Lydia Knight, and if you don't think you have an eating disorder, think again. A study at UNC Chapel Hill found that 75% of women report disordered eating. So the reason why you are still stuck feeling out of control with food and continually sabotaging your goals is that you think the problem is actually something else entirely.
And you know what? It has nothing to do with any of these. It has nothing to do with food addiction. It's not your lack of coping skills. It has nothing to do with past trauma. You are not a sugar addict. It is not connected with your emotions. This is not about your stress level or some sort of a hormonal imbalance. It has nothing to do with a lack of spiritual enlightenment. It's not that you have depression or anxiety that's connected to anything with food. It's not that you don't have enough education or that you don't feel bad enough yet. It's not about not having the right exercise plan or, oh, maybe, my diet is off, or it's some sort of hormonal imbalance. It has nothing to do with motivation, and it has zero to do with willpower. It is so important to know all of these factors that have nothing to do with the struggle with food, because we have clients who have literally wasted decades on trying to fix one of these other factors just in hopes that it's going to fix the food problem, but it was never going to work anyway. Like clients who have gone to years of therapy and treatment centers and completely changed the way that they were eating and moving their bodies over and over, who have hired nutritionists who have become nutritionists themselves. They thought, like, if I could just fix one of these things, my food issues would go away. And the most horrible part of that is to spend 25 years of your life absolutely conquering one of those other factors and having your food issues worse than ever and having to start over at square one. So you've got to know the exact reason why this is happening so that you can fix it. I'm eating disorder expert, Coach Lydia Knight, and our permanent solution has now been featured in NBC, CBS, Yahoo, Fox News, Digital Journal, Access Wire, The Good Men Project, and more. This is the real reason you're binging. It's called the binge restrict cycle. When we binge, we actually teach our bodies to restrict. And when we restrict, we are teaching our bodies to binge again. And it goes round and round, and it becomes a cycle. So, how do you break a cycle? Well, you could end the binging. But if you knew how to do that, you would have done that a long time ago. Well, you can also end the restricting to break the cycle. So what happens when you end the restricting and the binging continues? Well, you destroy your life and your health very quickly. We've seen people come to us having gained 50 pounds rapidly in a matter of months, and now they have a new diagnosis because they were trying to break the cycle with ending the restricting, but the binging remained. And here is what makes it even worse. As this cycle goes round and round, then it becomes a habit. And once it's a habit, the habit creates urges. Urges to binge and urges to restrict. That's why it feels out of control, and that's why it feels like a compulsion. So we binge and we have the strong compulsive urges to restrict, and then we restrict and we have the strong compulsive urges to binge. So once we have this habit, how do we fix it? Here's the actual way to permanently 100% end the struggle with food. You break the habit by getting rid of the urges. And once the habit is gone, then you don't have a problem anymore. We have prepared a free masterclass that is going to walk you through the 5 elements to completely break this habit and end binge eating once and for all. The same elements that have freed the hundreds and thousands of people before you, and they are now living in their freedom, and you can as well. We'll show you exactly how to do it in our upcoming masterclass.